Now, and welcome to the second part of the Using Vector Tools lesson. In this lesson I'm going to show you how to take your bitmap image of your superhero and turn it into a vector image using Photopea. So let's do it. So by the end of this lesson you will know how to export and import files. So export out of Pixlr, exporting the bitmap image and importing into Photopea, and be able to use vector tools to design a character. That's the plan. Right, so during the next bit after this presentation, I'm going to show you how to save the bitmap image from Pixlr as a JPEG. I'm going to show you how to open that file in Photopea and use the pen tool to trace over it, remembering that, as from last lesson, if you click and release without moving the mouse, that makes a corner, and if you click and drag, that creates a curve, so that's using the pen tool. And make sure that you close the path at the end, so you click on the first nugget that you started with, and therefore you get round to finishing the shape off, and Photopea will then create a new layer and it will sort it all out for you. Just make sure you close the path. Right, if you fail to close the path, and you try to click on it and you don't quite get there, as I've done many times in this next video part, Ctrl+z undo is your friend. And I suggest that you turn the fill off while you're drawing, otherwise it covers the things that you're trying to trace, which is no good at all. Right, once you've drawn, for example, I don't know, the left arm on my one, you can see over on the right hand side. Once I've created all the layers for my left arm, I'm going to name each layer. Apart from anything else, you can have a bit of a brain relax and just write words, which is a bit less taxing. Anyway, once you're done, you're going to then highlight the layers. So for example, I clicked on the layer called lower, and then I held down shift and clicked on this layer, which selected all 4 layers in a go, and then Ctrl+g, which groups them together in a folder, which you can then rename left arm or whatever it is that you need to do. Right, also, for example, when I created the left arm, I then copied it and pasted it, so I had 2 left arms. I can then use edit, transform, flip horizontal, and then I've got a left arm and a right arm, which I'll show you in the video. Okay, once you've drawn around whatever it is that you need to draw around, you can make adjustments using this direct select tool, where you can click on nuggets. So for example, this was a place that I clicked and dragged sideways to draw his chin. I could then click back on this nugget, and potentially I can grab hold of these, I don't know what they'd be called, extendable arm nugget things, and you can move them around to make the curve as you want it. Right, yeah, and you can move it with a mouse, or more accurately and slightly easier, less fiddly, you can use the keyboard, so the arrow keys on the keyboard for precision. Right, once you've finished everything, I would suggest, before starting to play with this gradient business, you can potentially apply a gradient fill, so you can see on that image, his head, I've got sort of a fill coming in from the top right hand corner. You can choose linear or actually radial, also works. Radial is sort of a circular gradient. And then click on this gradient bar, so number 2, And then number 3, you can change these coloured stops, and they control how the gradient looks, right? And once all that's done, you can actually also change the angle of the gradient, but I'll show you that in the video. Right, so this is your task. You're going to trace the superhero and then hide the original bitmap layer, which should just leave you the vector version. Then go back and design a supervillain, a sidekick, and then upload onto OneDrive, please. And of course share it with me so I can give you a mark and say how totally brilliant you've been. Yeah, anyway, so next part of the video is me creating this superhero sort of vector version. The original video was like 45 minutes, 50 minutes or something, but I've fast forwarded sort of 5 speed through quite a lot of it. But I've stopped at various points just to kind of point out, I don't know, me selecting more than one layer at once and converting it into a group, or me adjusting something. Anyway, so it is fast forwarded, but it does slow down to real time at various points in the video. Cool. Right, as always, you can rewind. You don't have to, you know, watch it once. Watch little bits time and time again if you need to. And yeah, enjoy. When you get the knack of this, it's brilliant. I'm about to trace my bitmap that I made of my superhero in Photopea, but I did my bitmap in Pixlr. So first of all, I'm going to download the JPEG version of it. So I'm going to open the PXD file, which is there. Drop that into Pixlr. Okay, so there's my original file with all the layers and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, download the JPEG or the PNG, because it's got a transparent background. PNG is best, so download that one. And then in photopea.com, I'm going to open that file. So open from actually, let's go back to Windows Explorer. So back to the top of my downloads folder. So drag that and drop that into Photopea. Right, so I now have my bitmap image in Photopea, so I can start to trace it. And I'm going to use the pen tool. And I'm going to zoom in, so that's Ctrl+ on the keyboard. Scroll up a little bit. If you need to move around, you can use this hand, sort of like a pan on cameras as they are. You can centralize your image. Okay, so using the pen tool, I'm going to click and let go in that corner, which just starts me off. I'm going to click and drag sideways in the direction of travel, in the direction that I'm constructing. I'm going to click in the corner, and that doesn't quite make the curve that I want, but I'm going to come back and fix it in a little bit. So for the rest of this, click and let go. I'm going to click and drag just to get these slight curves going on around his chiseled chin. And I've messed that one up as well, so I shall come back and fix that. Right, and then try and click on that on the first nugget, and make sure it says close path. That never happens first time. Let's just turn the fill off for a sec. Yeah, that never happens first time, so Ctrl+z is your friend, is undo, so you can have another go. Right, to adjust the lines, I'm going to click on my direct select button, click on the grab handle, and you can move it. You can either move it using the mouse, or slightly more precisely, you can move it using the keyboard. So let's just click on that one and drag that a little bit further out. Oh, come on. Right, and that's very good. Just drag that sideways, see what that looks like. Ooh. Right, leave it alone, that'll do. Okay, and then down here I messed up as well. Where did I go? That one. Let's just drag that down a little bit. Right, happy with that. Okay, next I'm going to have a go at his ears. So let's click on the pen tool again. Ear pen, whatever. Right, and I'm just going to zoom in a little. Okay, so start inside the face. Click drag and click drag. Just so we've got nice smooth lines. Click and drag, definitely within the face, and then come back and try and click on that first nugget. Oh, close path. Ha, sweet. Yeah, okay. And what I'm going to do is, actually, let's rename these things. Double click on the name. We'll call that one face. Oh, FAC. Let's turn FAC into face. Good. And then this one's left ear. And even though his ears aren't actually the same, I'm going to just duplicate this to show you how it's done. So duplicate the layer. Let's call it right ear. Right ear. Yeah. Okay. And use the move tool. So it's about there. I'm going to flip it horizontally. So edit, transform, flip horizontally. And in theory that would be perfect, but actually there's lots of things wrong. His head's tilting, all that kind of stuff. So let's go with free transform even. So I can rotate that just a little bit. Okay. Yep, happy with that. Right, and all of these, can you see the face line has gone, that ear line has gone? It's because if I go back to my pen tool, so I can adjust these things, notice it hasn't got any stroke. So let's give it yellow. Oh no, sorry. Let's go with yellow. Something quite bright. And the same again. So they're all, it's just so you can see them. Reassure me that they're in about the right place. Okay, good. And then go back with the pen tool, and I'm going to click at the corner of his eye. Click and go. Click and go. Click and go. Click and go. Click and drag. And then click and go. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to hide his eyes for a sec. So what's that left eye? And right eye. Cool. And so hide those things. And draw the pupils. So no pupils. So go with that and that. Seems about right. Okay, so left pupil and right pupil. Good. Okay, I'm going to change. Oh, there's no lips. Sorry. Let's go back pen tool and click and go. No, come on. Right, pen tool. Right, good. So click and go. Good. Click and drag. Click and drag. And click and go. Right. And because I'm not going to close the shape, I'm going to click down here on Make New Layer. So Pixlr knows I've finished with the nose. If I hadn't done that, when I click now, there would be a line from there to there. But it's okay, it knows. We've told it. Right, so click and drag, click and go, click and drag, and click and go, and click and drag, and click and go. Yes, Ctrl+z, and yeah, good. Right, okay, so that's face kind of drawn, and I'm going to color it. So we can okay, so using the pencil switch on, I'm going to click on this side with the keyballs. I'm going to quick rename those and move lips to it. Okay, so eyes, pause. I'm going to press shift at this point so I can select two at the same time, and turn stroke off, and have fill as black. Red eyes, scary. Black, that'll do. And then again, right eye, hold down shift so I can select two layers at the same time. Turn the stroke off and make the fill white this time. Don't shoot till you see the whites in their eyes. And then let's do his ears, so hold down shift so I can select two layers at the same time, and turn stroke off, and sample his head. So let's see, does that look like a reason? That's quite dark. Let's go for that one. Yeah, okay. Right, okay. And then, let's see, lips. Those need to be filled. So I'm still on my pen tool. Lips. Oh, actually, I'm going to move the lips out of the way. Right, finally, move the lips out of the way so that I can fill by sampling his actual lips. So just turn the stroke off, and this time my fill is going to be, so I'll sample the lips, click on that. Yeah, press OK. Because of course, as soon as I'd, oh bother, undo, Ctrl+z, use the move tool. Because as soon as I'd selected fill, I wouldn't have been able to see the lips to sample. So that's why I moved them out the way. Right, so face, oh, there's a nose. There's another black. Fill the nose done. Right, so black outline, good. And then face. Let's go for black outline. And fill in some with ears. Right, okay, one here. Let's make the ears have black outline. Okay, then put the face in front of them. There you go. I'm put some strokes later. Okay, now I'm going to group all of this together. So I'm going to click on the bottom layer, and then hold down shift and click on the top layer, which is actually the lips. And I'm going to do Ctrl+g on the keyboard, which turns it into a folder, and let's call that a head. Okay, and I'm just going to delete that layer. I think I drew it accidentally. Delete. Okay, so there's his head. Click on the background layer. I'm going to draw his body next. So, click and drag for a corner. Click and drag for a curve, sorry. There we go. Just going to drag this. Mostly curves. Just a little bit. So only dragging short distance, right. No, Ctrl+z. Come on, close path. Close path, right. Let's make the fill thing. And stroke black. Okay, so that's his body outline. I'm going to do detail now. So let's say body, and click and drag. Click and drag. Undo, Ctrl+z, click and drag. Click and drag. And click and drag. Just get those curves going on. Close path for that then. Okay, circle tool. Yeah, so ellipse. I'm going to give it, it's already got stroke, but this is detail, so I'm going to make it smaller. Let's just go for 1 point. Okay, and then draw some circles. Don't worry about the accuracy. I just quite like the look of the detail here, so vaguely copying it. Right, so there's the circle. I'm going to go with the pen tool to draw these lines because some of them are slightly curved, and then use this create new layer because they're not closed shapes. So create new layer, and last one. Right, create new layer. Good. Okay, so that's the, oh, that's not quite the body done. Let's do this line. So click and let go, and then click drag, to get that curve. Click let go because that's a corner. Click drag and click let go. Right, new layer. Okay, oh, that's where that new layer came up. Right, let's just turn that stroke back to, what's that, 4.4? Let's call it 5. Okay, right. So I should be. I'm not going to name the not going to name the layers anymore. I strongly suggest that you do, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to speed things up. Right. So fill the body with red. No. Fill. Oh yeah, of course. Click on this one and sample the red of the body. Press OK. And I've just done it for that shape that I accidentally created. Come on, John. Right, so body. Give it the fill. Give it the fill that it deserves. Okay, that's red from the last time I sampled. Fair enough. Okay, let's get this shape. So that was that bit. I'm going to turn that into 5 point as well. Because it's the outside edge. The detail I'm going to leave at 1 point. Okay, so I'm going to turn all of that lot into a group. And then Ctrl+g to group. And then name it body. Let's just delete that layer because that's an extra created one by me. Okay, so we're done. Okay, so you and so I'm just taking because they got all 6 lines. Please write on. Can't see, so high fill, set that up and place half good. Right, and then okay, drawing that on. Place half good, and then the hand. Right, just again, because all these straight lines. It's not amazing accurate. And I can't come back to my circle. I'm not going to on this occasion. Right. Yes, undo Ctrl+z. Right, okay, so I'm going to use my Shift key to select all of those and give it the fill colour. Oops. No, not filter, fill colour. And sample his other arm. That'll do. Right, okay, so I've done one arm. Ctrl+g. Let's call it left arm. Inspirational name. Left arm. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate that arm. So duplicate layer. And then I'm going to swap it, flip it onto the other side. So transform, flip horizontally, and use my move tool. Let's move it with the keys on the keyboard. Holding down Shift makes it move a bit quicker for those of us who are a little bit impatient. Right, that's in about the right place. Okay, so let's just call that right arm. Okay, good. Let's bring the body back. Yeah, cool. Right, let's have a go at the wheels. Okay, so straight line, drag this corner, and straight line, and drag, and straight line, and drag, and another straight line, and another drag. Right, and then place shape. Oh, place right, yeah, okay, I'm going to turn the fill off for a sec. Okay, and then add detail. So that was for 5 points, and then use my circle tool, and this is going to be 1 point because it's detail, so just running the answers, fake fill down. Circle. Okay, yeah, let's do that, shape. So end tool. Right, click drag, take all these ones that goes in. Just take everything just a little bit. Place half of that, right, that's circle. 1 more to the right. Okay, so this is the detail. Last one is the outside drag sideways, straight line, drag the curve, straight line, so the curve is. I'm going to run the inside because I'm going to hide this behind the layer. Okay, so filling, I should really use a some sort of background thing, pattern, but there aren't any sort of built in, or nothing I could find. So I ended up using a gradient, and let's change that to 90. So it's going straight down. and it's not perfect, but I called that about right. Maybe just change this to slightly darker. Slightly darker. Okay. And okay. Right, yes. Okay, so start with his cape, so it's somewhere in there, and then a click and drag, and a corner, click and let go, click and drag, and click and drag. There's a corner, and let's just go up into his body somewhere and try and close the shape. Yep, close path, that's all good. Right, last thing is these little what's-its. Okay, let's just change that to 5 because they're quite thick lines. And then see, that's what happens when you don't create a new layer. So let's just do create new layer. Follow your advice. Okay, good. Okay, you should hold Ctrl+g and then go click. Okay, yeah, so that's done. I'm going to hide the background just so you can see the pure. There you go. That's a good idea. My cape. The first layer I drew, got a fill. So let's just sample the body, move out the way. There you go. Okay. Good. Right, so I'm going to call that done. Yeah. Right, so there it is. We need to save it. So let's go for save, file save as PSD. So that's the original file. I'm also going to save the image version, so I've got a pretty thing to look at. So let's just go for PNG because it's got a transparent background. Save. And having downloaded it, of course, it's always worth backing these things up. So I'm going to go to office.com, which I've already logged into, and click my OneDrive. Cool. And in my ICT folder, I'm going to my character design folder as well. Okay, I'm going to upload the files that I just downloaded. So that's the pretty image. There's the file, the original file. Drag and drop them into that folder. And you can see uploaded 2 items. Okay, so, and I've done this before, as you can see there's some more. But anyway, those are backed up. If you want to share them with your teacher, click on that little share button and then type the teacher's surname in there and it'll bring up their email, and then press send and you've just shared a file. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I've shown you how to export, sort of, out of photo editor import sort of into Photopea, trace over the bitmap image using vector tools, which turns it into a cartoon version. I've then shown you how to save the file in its original format, the PSD, which is a Photoshop file incidentally, so you can just use it in Photoshop after this. I also exported the PNG file, so I've got something pretty to look at. Then I backed it up into the cloud by logging into my OneDrive and just dragging and dropping the file into the right folder. So, cast your eyes away from the screen, have a look outside. Is it raining? No. Okay, grab a dog, preferably your own, go for a walk, maybe not with the dog, but go outside, enjoy some sunshine, get some vitamin D and some fresh air, and I shall see you in the next video.